Hello dear all and welcome to the review of the ZEISS Batis 85mm f1.8. I tested this lens on the Sony Alpha A7 III. Yes, significantly more expensive than the Sony 85mm f1.8, but at least a bit cheaper than the Sony 85mm f1.4 G Master. But it's compact, it has a very good handling, and I give you more reasons to get this version during this review. Let's start with the body. At the bayonet, the lens is sealed against dust and splash. Very good. By the way, the lens doesn't have a millimeter of clearance, so it fits perfectly on the Sony Alpha A7 III. In addition, it's super compact and weighs only 450 grams, which is 1 pound. The difference to the Sony G Master version is clearly noticeable. I made a review about the G Master version on my channel. You can stop down to f22 and you even have an integrated image stabilizer. If you want to protect your lens, you need a 67mm filter. There's no AF/MF switch on the side. This is only possible internally via the Sony menu. The little LCD on top is nice for manual focusing. You have to search for chromatic aberrations for a really long time. So I went through some photos and I think I started to imagine some. With vignetting, the whole thing looks different. It's useful to use Adobe Lightroom to prevent any headache. At f1.8 you can clearly see some dark edges and they stick on the photo until f5.6. As I said, use Adobe Lightroom and problem is solved. When it comes to lens flare, the lens does a really good job. You may have a sign of stray lights in the middle, but I know lenses where you only see lens flares. You can see why I prefer to spend more money on my lenses now. Take a look at these images. At f1.8, you will get a crisp, clear image, no matter if you look at the edges or in the center. The pictures are always crisp and sharp. With this lens, you can't really see any difference whether the photos were taken at f1.8, 2.8 or 5.6. You can see the sharpness. Sure, the lens is not quite cheap, but it will give you a Sony lifetime of pleasure. So, Greta and I were together in Frankfurt Sachsenhausen, which is Frankfurt South, to test the autofocus. The integrated image stabilizer was running, the pictures were all taken from handheld, and I had set width as the focus field. The face and eye tracking worked surprisingly well. The focus was always very fast. In darkness it sometimes had its problems in video mode. The less contrast, the less you can expect. Otherwise, great performance. There's no indication of the minimum focus distance on the lens, like on other lenses, but you can change from autofocus to manual focus inside the Sony camera menu. You have it displayed on the little LCD. You can get as close as 90 centimeters to your subjects, which is about 3 feet. Not an ideal focal length for taking macro shots, but still great to focus on some details while being able to isolate the fore from the background or vice versa. Here are some close-ups taken with this lens. I decided to get this lens for myself due to the compact design and lower weight. I love the 85mm G Master version, but you will notice the difference if you need to carry one of these lenses with you for an entire day. The ZEISS version is great for filmmakers, while the focus ring runs super smooth. I took these clips for you using the Sony Alpha A7 III. A focal length of 85mm is great for taking portraits. If you would like to see some examples from a wedding, have a look at my video about the 85mm G Master version, which I recently took with me on a wedding. Thanks to Great and Maike for your support. We were in Frankfurt across the city to take some cool portrait pictures for you, all under natural light, without using any reflector. As you have seen, a great lens for taking portraits. Through the 1.8 aperture, you will be able to isolate the fore from the background and vice versa. You can stop down to f22 and wide open, the bokeh looks like this. I took this lens already several times with me through the city. A cool lens for taking street shots, since you can keep the distance to your subjects, and since it's such a tiny 85mm lens, it does not get too heavy with some of Sony's light camera bodies. But it would not be my first choice when I had to choose for just one lens for my holiday. Let's summarize. Until now I did not have any lens from ZEISS which had a bad performance. You pay a bit more compared to other 85mm, except for the 85mm G Master version, but you will get an outstanding performance in regards to sharpness, bokeh and reliability. During low light the focus was not as accurate as expected, but I have to say it was really dark and there was almost no contrast when I realized that. So you carry a lot less with you compared to the 85mm G Master version. Keep in mind that they have different f-stops. If you're in Frankfurt someday, make sure to stop by gm-foto near the central station. Are you using this lens already? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts and experience with the others. All the best from Frankfurt and see you soon.